Hey, I'm Andrew, and this is Blue Collar and Rich. First off, guys, apologies for the lack of content for the last little spell. Life got in the way there. My wife and I just recently moved into a new home. Now that we're all settled, now I can get with the program here and get back in the saddle, so to speak, and start making more videos here for you guys. So, anyways, today I'm going to talk to you about life insurance. Oh, the exciting world of life insurance. You're probably thinking, geez, snore-fest, stop. You're going to go find a more interesting video to watch now, right? So anyways, I want to talk about life insurance because recently there was a bit of an experience that a friend of mine shared that I gotta be honest, stirred up some mixed emotions within myself, and it's an important story, and I wanna get this message out here because it's important. If you don't know what life insurance is, or the whole subject confuses you or maybe frustrates you, I get it. We all get it, okay? It's a bit of a snore fest. It's certainly a really dull subject. And on top of that, it forces you to ask yourself those difficult questions and think about the absolute worst thing happening to you today or tomorrow. And who wants to think about that, right? So what happened to me here recently is I reached out to a friend of mine because she was having a really bad day. She was having a bad day because a longtime friend of hers had just recently passed away due to a fluke accident. And this friend of hers, he left behind a 9-year-old daughter with no savings and no coverage to speak of. And he also had sole custody of this little girl. So, very sad story. I don't know all the details behind these circumstances, but I heard enough to motivate me to make this video for all of you. The reason why I'm sharing this experience with you is because I'm sure this wasn't the first time, and this certainly won't be the last time. If I want you to pose that question to yourself, do you have dependents in your life? And I'm saying dependents because it doesn't necessarily have to be a child. Do you have parents that rely on your income, or possibly will be relying on your income in the not too distant future? And I say that because, well, let's be honest, the number one fear of baby boomers these days, in all these surveys and polls out there, is the fact that they're afraid that they're going to outlive their savings, their retirement. This page is called Blue Collar and Rich. But it doesn't, I feel like I have a responsibility to cover all aspects of your financial health. And if you were to sit down with a financial planner, and I'm not a financial planner, I'm certainly not your financial advisor, I don't know all the circumstances of your personal financial situation. But if you were to sit down with an advisor, they typically do a very similar format, and if you haven't sat down with one, make an appointment, sit down with one. You're probably going to chuckle because you're going to say, oh, Andrew already explained this to me. They're going to draw a triangle, or they're going to draw a house, or they're going to give you a little pamphlet. And they're going to talk about the base, the foundation, your foundational financial aspects is what is going to be more of a protective aspect, right? There's going to be a will in place. There's going to be insurance, life insurance, critical illness insurance, disability insurance, living benefits. All this is your foundation that protects everything else. And if they're drawing you a triangle or a pyramid, the very top will be some of those more risky speculative investments like cryptocurrencies, for example. That would be at the very top of your pyramid, and your life insurance and will and things of that nature would be the strong foundation. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because you want to plan for the worst and hope for the best in life, because it's those people who have that mindset, they're the ones that get ahead. It's the people that say, oh, I never thought it would happen to me. It's those people that always get left behind. It's those people that always find themselves behind the 8 ball and never have that ability to fully recover. I'm fully convinced of the fact that when you go to Walmart and you see those 75-year-old greeters at Walmart, they don't want to be there necessarily. And maybe there's the odd person that wants to be there for social reasons, but for the most part, I think a 75-year-old person wants to enjoy the retirement. They don't want to stand at the door at Walmart and be greeting complete strangers. I think they'd rather be hanging out with their grandbabies, their family, their friends, their loved ones, traveling, and enjoying their golden years. I'm willing to bet, I am so confident to say that they probably found themselves behind the 8 ball earlier on in life, and never fully recovered because possibly they didn't have that strong foundation in place in their financial house, right? So think about that, and bringing it back down here to life insurance now. Who is dependent on your income? So if the worst thing happened tomorrow and you were to pass away, not only are your dependents and your loved ones going to be faced with the emotional agony of losing you, but they could also be faced with just terrible financial hardship because now they've lost you and they've lost your income. So let's really think about protection systems that we can put in place to protect these people. We love them. We care about them. And they rely on us. And we're responsible adults. So we want them to be taken care of if something were to happen. So, and I'm sharing this with you because, guys, I'm not a life insurance agent. I do not provide life insurance. I do work in the insurance industry, but I do not do life insurance. However, I do know of a AD&D product. AD&D stands for Accidental Death and Dismemberment, and it costs $17 a month. So we're not talking a lot of money here. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because that $17 a month premium would have gotten this gentleman a $70,000 death benefit left to his beneficiary. So now I'm going to share my screen with you guys here right now to show you what that actually means. Here we go. I'm using calculator.net for this example, you guys. So check these guys out if you have a need for some of these fancy calculators. But I'm starting with $70,000. That would have been the death benefit in this example I'm using with you. That this little girl would have received when losing her father, and then that money obviously would have been left to a trustee. She's a minor, so she wouldn't have access to the funds until much later on, and I'm going to assume it would be invested for 10 years, and then she would gain access at 19 years old. And I'm also going to assume a very modest 5% rate of return. You wouldn't have to look very hard to find many examples, especially over the last 10 years, of companies and different strategies that can well outperform 5%. And then I'm also going to assume that there's no additional contribution. We're going to err on the side of caution and assume a very conservative example here. So, and even being as conservative as I am, she would still grow that into over $114,000. The 70 grand is what she started with, and she gains an additional $44,000 over that 10 years. You can scroll down here. You can see only 61% of it is the actual original amount. 39% is, I mean, effectively just free money, right? And that's the original principal. Here's the interest, which ends up at $114,000, and it has all the numbers broken down here on a per year basis. So just because we're already here, why not we just see what happens if I bump that up to 10%? You can see now that's $181,500. And let's also say maybe she has a relative that can add an additional $50 a month during this 10-year period, and boom, just look at that. Just a couple little changes like that, and now this little girl would be left with not too far away from $200,000, actually $191,500. That would give this little girl incredible opportunities and options at her 19th birthday. You know, she could be looking at a down payment of a house, a vehicle, education. Think of all of those opportunities that would be left to her, and all because her dad was willing to pay $17 a month in a monthly premium. You know, that's really what it all boils down to. So I hope this was able to give you guys a better idea of the impact having that proper protection in place for your loved ones looks like. I don't want to speak ill of the dead here or anything. I don't know why he made the decisions he did. I don't know all the reasons behind his choices, but for $17 a month, there's not a lot of excuses out there to say that you needed that $17 a month elsewhere, because we're not talking about a large sum of money here. And guys, what I want to encourage you to do here is, if you were buying a car or buying a house, would you buy the first house you looked at? Would you buy the first house or the first car you test drove? No, of course not. Pick up the phone, call up a financial advisor, call up a couple companies, and check a few of them out. Don't make them bully you into signing something on the spot. Shop around, check out different rates, check out what the likelihood is of your beneficiary actually receiving a benefit, and weigh out all the pros and cons. You know, if you don't have any coverage in place right now, then I don't even want you to finish watching this video. Stop it right now and go to Google and find some local agents that you can reach out to, okay? And just get the ball rolling. Start the process. Don't say, oh, tomorrow I'll do it. You know, next week. I'll get to it next month. You guys know full well how that goes. We've all been there, right? But this is important. You love your beneficiaries. You love these people. And if something were to happen to you, you want to make sure that they're going to be taken care of. You want that financial plan to be solid so that this little girl, she could have had $114,000 waiting for her at her 19th birthday. Think of the choices. Think of the options that that little girl would have had available to her that she doesn't now. It's heartbreaking. It's just absolute heartbreaking. And I don't want this to turn into a gloomy video by any means, but there is 100% likelihood that we're all dying. We're all gonna end up dead one day. And so for us to just kind of nonchalantly go along, truck along every single day, and just assume that nothing bad will ever happen to us, it's a little negligent, isn't it? Right? Like I wake up hoping for the best, but I will plan for the worst because I'm still a human being. I don't have a big giant S on my chest. I'm not going to wrap myself up in bubble wrap and hide in my bedroom for the rest of my life, because what kind of quality of life would that be, right? So really, really look toward inwards and ask yourself those difficult questions. What would happen to my loved ones? What would happen to my spouse? What would happen to my child? What would happen to my parents? What would happen to my best friend who relies on me heavily? Possibly they have a permanent disability and you really take care of them. Or maybe you're a big brother or a big sister. Or you participate in a lot of these charitable programs. People care about you. People love you, and they're gonna miss you dearly. But if they're relying on you financially, you need to ask yourself these difficult questions to make sure that they're going to be okay. You know, when you leave this planet, it would be nice to know that our loved ones are going to be okay without us. I don't want this video to go on too long, but I hope I was able to convey my message across to all of you. This page is very much blue collar and rich, and I definitely want to keep things along that direction. But coverage is important. Insurance is important. Sometimes it's a subject that's laughed at every once in a while, but it's an important thing. And I care about all of you, and I don't doubt for a second that you care about a lot of people in your lives, and you want to make sure that they're taken care of. For a low monthly fee, you know, what's $17 a month? What's $50 a month? You know, if your loved ones aren't going to be looked after once you're no longer with us. So if you guys found this video valuable, if it's forced you to think about things in a little different way, or offered a little bit more clarity, hit that like button. You know, leave me a comment. Let's get the conversation going, and subscribe for more content like this. I promise I don't always talk about death, but it's an important subject nonetheless. And if you think this video would be valuable to someone, feel free to share the link with someone. Maybe they have a big family of their own, or they have elderly parents that are relying on them. Let's get this message out there. I think it's a subject that's avoided too often, and it's far too important to just sweep it under the rug and think, I'll get to it tomorrow. Let's get the important stuff done and protect ourselves. Okay, so have a great day, guys. Take care.